between these two, and Gout working so hard to get to him, and he gets there. Gout takes it by a metre and moving away. 20.04, battling all the way.
This 17-year-old kid from Australia just ran faster than almost everyone on Earth. Not in a video game, but on a real track. And he's doing things that haven't been done in over 50 years. His name is Gout Gout. When Gout was young, he liked playing handball at school. One day, his teacher was watching the kids play and noticed something amazing. Gout was incredibly quick, way faster than the other kids. That teacher told the school's track coach, a woman named Diane Shepard, about this super fast kid. Coach Shepard watched Gout run and immediately knew he had something special. She took him under her wing and started training him properly. But here's what's really cool about Gout. Even though he was so talented, he stayed humble. Coach Shepard said this about him back in 2022. "My biggest thing with the kids is about being humble, and he has got it in bucket loads." When Gout was just 13 years old, he won both the 100-meter and 200-meter races at a school competition. For those who don't know, the 100 meters is a straight sprint, and the 200 meters is once around half the track. Both are super hard races that need incredible speed. At 14, Gout ran the 100 meters in 10.57 seconds. That's insanely fast for a kid that age. But he was just getting started. When he turned 15, something big happened. He broke the Australian record for his age group in the 200 meters. Kids his age weren't supposed to run that fast, but Gout did it anyway. Over the next few years, he kept getting faster and faster. In 2021, when he was 13, his best time in the 200 meters was 22.68 seconds. By 2023, when he was 14, he ran it in 20.87 seconds. That's almost 2 full seconds faster in just 2 years. In running, even 1 second is a huge difference.
The challenge and the Gout and Josiah John out wide from WA. Josiah John, Gout though now shows his class. Gout from Queensland, 20.8.
But December 2024 is when everything changed. That's when the whole world started paying attention. Gout was competing at the Australian All-Schools Championships. He was still 16 years old, just a few weeks away from his 17th birthday. He lined up for the 200-meter final in lane 7. The gun went off. Actually, it went off twice. Gout had a false start first. That means he started running before he was supposed to. He had to come back and start over. Most runners would get nervous after that, but not Gout. The gun fired again. This time, Gout took off perfectly. He came around the curve and hit the straight part of the track. He just flew. He pulled away from everyone else like they were standing still. When he crossed the finish line, everyone looked up at the clock. It said 20.04 seconds. The crowd went absolutely wild, because Gout had just broken a record that had stood for 56 years. Back in 1968, an Australian runner named Peter Norman ran the 200 meters in 20.06 seconds at the Olympics in Mexico City. He won a silver medal. For over half a century, no Australian had ever run faster than that. Until Gout. At 16 years old. But that wasn't even the craziest part. Gout also broke another record that day, a record held by the fastest man who ever lived, Usain Bolt. You've probably heard of Usain Bolt. He's from Jamaica, and he's a legend. He won 8 Olympic gold medals and set world records that still stand today. When Bolt was 16, his best time in the 200 meters was 20.13 seconds. Gout ran 20.04. That made Gout the fastest 16-year-old in history. After the race, Gout dropped to one knee and pointed at the sky. He couldn't believe what he had just done. He said later, "I didn't think it would come this year." The day before that amazing 200-meter race, Gout also ran the 100 meters. In the heat, which is like a practice round, he ran 10.04 seconds. But the wind was too strong that day, so it didn't count as an official record. In the final, he ran 10.17 seconds, which did count. He broke the Australian record for his age in that race too. People started calling him a sprinting sensation. Videos of his races went viral on the internet. Everyone wanted to know, who is this kid? And of course, everyone started comparing him to Usain Bolt. They run in a similar way. They're both tall. They both make it look easy. Even Bolt himself noticed. He said, "He looks like young me." But Gout wanted people to know he's his own person. In an interview in March, he said, "Although I do run like Usain Bolt and I do maybe look like him, I'm just trying to be myself and trying to be the next Gout." That's pretty mature for a 17-year-old, right? After December, Gout kept racing and kept getting faster. In February 2025, he competed at the Queensland State Championships. In the morning race, he ran 20.05 seconds. That was the fastest time anyone in the world had run that year, and he was just getting warmed up. That afternoon in the final race, something magical happened. Gout didn't have a great start. He actually felt a bit off, but then he came around the bend and felt the wind at his back. He decided to just go for it. He described it like this: "I felt literally free. I had 80 meters left to go and I thought, let's send it, and only from then did I believe I had a chance of going sub 20. Sub 20 means under 20 seconds. That's the magic number in the 200 meters. It's like breaking the sound barrier. Only the absolute best runners in the world can do it." Gout crossed the finish line and looked at the clock. It said 19.98 seconds. He had just become the first Australian ever to run the 200 meters in under 20 seconds. He won the race by more than 2 full seconds. That's like winning a car race by a mile. There was a huge crowd watching, and they went crazy. Gout said, "I've been at that stage before, watching Usain Bolt on the news and just getting goosebumps. Myself giving people goosebumps definitely feels great." Now, here's the tough part. Because the wind was blowing too hard that day, the time didn't count as an official record. In track and field, if the wind is helping you too much, the time doesn't go in the record books. But Gout still did it. He proved he could run that fast. And he wasn't done yet. In April, Gout competed at the Australian National Championships in Perth. This was against adults, not just kids his age. He won the 200 meters in 19.84 seconds. Again, the wind was too strong, so it didn't count officially, but everyone knew what he could do. Then came the big moment. On the 23rd of April 2025, Australia announced their team for the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan. These championships happen every 2 years and bring together the best runners from every country on Earth. And Gout made the team. At 17 years old, he was going to compete against the fastest men in the world. He was so excited. He said, "I'm super excited to be picked to run the 200 inches Tokyo at the World Championships. That's what we've been aiming for." So September came around, and it was time for the World Championships in Tokyo. This was huge. Gout would be racing against guys like Noah Lyles, who was the world champion, and Letsile Tebogo, who won gold at the Olympics. The president of World Athletics, Sebastian Coe, said this about Gout: "He's the real deal." But Coe also said something smart. He said, "I wouldn't burden him with a medal. This is a learning curve." What he meant was that Gout is still so young. Just making it to the finals would be an achievement. Even Usain Bolt didn't make the World Championship finals when he was 17. Gout competed in the semi-finals and gave it everything he had. He ran hard and fast, but this time he didn't make it to the final. Noah Lyles and the other experienced runners were just too strong that day. After the race, Gout said he was determined to come back stronger. He said he would keep training, keep learning, and keep getting faster. He's focusing on both his running and his schoolwork because he's still in high school.
Way, got a pretty good start, Gout. Quickly picks up Howard behind him, and then out wide at Kelly. How quick will he be? He's stretching away now. Isn't he beautiful to watch? He did switch off. Oh boy, oh boy.
At just 17 years old, Australian sprinter Gout Gout has done something that few thought possible. He's brought world-class sprinting energy to Australian athletics and sent shockwaves through the global track community. Still in high school, the Queensland teenager has already rewritten national records, clocked wind-assisted sub-10 seconds in the 100 meters, and crushed long-standing 200 meters marks that stood for over half a century. The whispers are already out there. Is this Australia's answer to Usain Bolt? It was a warm evening in Perth when Gout Gout, then just a 17-year-old, lined up for the Australian U20 National Championships. Within seconds of the starter's gun, he stormed down the track, crossing the line in 9.99 seconds, not once, but twice in the same day. While the wind readings 3.5 meters per second and 2.6 meters per second made the times ineligible as official records, they announced something undeniable. Australia had found its next sprinting phenomenon. After his win, Gout grinned and thumped his chest. "That's what I was hoping for," he told reporters. "I didn't get the start I anticipated. It was the kind of confidence, mixed with humility, that hinted at greatness." That same weekend, he went on to dominate the senior men's 200 meters, smashing Peter Norman's legendary 1,968 national record with a run of 20.04 seconds. The mark had stood untouched for 56 years. Months later, in Ostrava, Czech Republic, Gout bettered it again, 20.02 seconds, in his first ever senior international race. In Ostrava, the young Australian looked calm beyond his years. Running against seasoned professionals, Gout exploded out of the curve and powered down the straight, finishing nearly 0.2 of a second ahead of Cuba's Renier Mena. Britain's Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake, an Olympic medalist, was left trailing in third. Afterward, Gout smiled and told Reuters, "I feel good. New personal best, new national record in my first European race. I don't feel any pressure. Once I'm on the track, it's just me and what I've got to do, my favorite thing, and that's to run." In that moment, it wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Gout had become the fastest 7-year-old in Australia's history and one of the most promising young sprinters in the world. Born in Ipswich, Queensland in December 2007, Gout Gout is one of 7 children to Dinka parents who fled war-torn South Sudan before settling in Australia. His family's story is one of survival, resilience, and hope. His father, Bona, recalled the name Gout was a transliteration error when the family moved through Egypt, a mistake that stuck but now represents excellence on the world stage. Growing up, Gout played soccer before switching to track, a decision that changed everything. By 14, he had already broken Australian age group records in the 100 meters and 200 meters. By 15, he was clocking 20.87 for 200 meters, earning the Australian U18 title and his first trip overseas for the World U20 Championships in Lima, where he claimed silver in the 200 meters. By 16, he was setting Oceanian U20 records and signing a sponsorship deal with Adidas. The kid from Ipswich had officially become a professional athlete, without even graduating high school. Gout's performances in 2024 hinted at something special, but 2025 made it undeniable. In April, he lined up at the Australian National Championships in Perth. Despite 2 false starts and a nervous atmosphere, he blasted to a 19.84-second 200 meters, only to see the wind reading plus 2.2 meters per second erase its legality. Still, he smiled, saying, "It's definitely frustrating. I run fast times, but the wind is not on my side. Hopefully one day the wind will be great." It was more than optimism, it was prophecy. Just weeks later, in Europe, he delivered the legal 20.02 that shattered expectations once again. His new mark not only broke his own national record, but also the Oceanian record, placing him among the top teenage sprinters in world history. At only 17, Gout has achieved what most athletes dream of their entire lives. To put it in perspective, by his age, even Usain Bolt hadn't yet run faster. When the World Athletics Championships began in Tokyo in September 2025, all eyes were on the teenager from Queensland. The youngest man ever selected for Australia's senior team, Gout took to the track alongside sprint giants like Letsile Tebogo and Brian Level. In his semifinal, he surged from 7th to finish 4th in 20.36 seconds, narrowly missing a spot in the final. Despite the heartbreak, he was all smiles afterward. "I couldn't be prouder," he said. "Obviously, I was aiming for that sub-20, but today wasn't the day. God didn't allow it today, but I know for sure in the future it's going to come." And then came the quote that made headlines.
I can keep running, and I know that if I can do this at 17, I can do this at 25 as well, and I'll be even better at 25, so it's definitely great to know.
Bolt is here.
It was the kind of perspective that sets future legends apart: patience, faith, and fire. For all his speed, what makes Gout truly special is his mindset. Balancing elite training with schoolwork, he's known as a disciplined and thoughtful student, even expressing interest in studying psychology. His coaches describe him as calm, analytical, and focused. That maturity is rare. In a sport that often swallows young talent too soon, Gout's grounded approach gives him staying power. It's impossible to talk about Gout without mentioning Usain Bolt. The similarities are uncanny, both tall and smooth striding, both dominant as teenagers, and both from backgrounds defined by resilience. But Gout, ever humble, avoids the hype. Still, the numbers speak for themselves. Bolt's U18 world best over 200 meters was 20.13. Gout ran 20.04 at 16. Bolt's U20 world lead before his 18th birthday was 19.93. Gout's trajectory is right there, and his ceiling might be even higher. Australia hasn't had a global sprinting icon since Peter Norman, the 1,968 Olympic silver medalist who famously stood beside Tommy Smith and John Carlos during the Black Power salute. For decades, the nation's athletic glory has come in distance running, swimming, and field events, not sprinting. Gout has changed that. His performances have reignited a national conversation about sprinting's future down under. Track legend Bruce McAvaney called this generation Australia's golden age of athletics and hailed Gout as the spark this sport has been waiting for. And it's not just about speed. Gout's story, the son of refugees, representing his new homeland with pride, resonates deeply with Australians. His smile, humility, and gratitude make him as inspiring off the track as he is on it. After his World Championships debut, Gout announced he'd be taking a short break to focus on his final school exams before returning to training. That balance between ambition and responsibility speaks volumes about who he is. Even with Adidas contracts, international fame, and record-breaking runs, he remains grounded, the kid from Ipswich who just loves to run. His long-term goals? Breaking 20 seconds legally, representing Australia at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, and one day, perhaps, becoming the fastest man on Earth. And given how fast he's already going, it's only a matter of time. Gout Gout has already carved his name into athletics history, the youngest Oceanian record holder, the youngest Australian World Championship sprinter, and one of the youngest men ever to run under 10 seconds, wind-assisted. His journey embodies the perfect blend of raw talent, discipline, and destiny. So, when fans and pundits call him the next Bolt, maybe they're right. Or maybe Gout is something different altogether, the first Gout Gout.
Dualla bene anche Alice Pagliarini, forza Kelly adesso resistere a questo finale. Kelly and Dualla vince la medaglia d'oro 11:21 eguagliando la miglior.
This 15-year-old girl from Italy is running faster than almost every woman in her country ever has. While most kids her age are thinking about homework and hanging out with friends, she's breaking records that nobody has touched in years. Her name is Kellyanne Dualla, and in 2025, she did something nobody thought was possible. She became the youngest person ever to win the European Under-20 Championship in the 100 meters. And here's the crazy part. She's still got 4 more years before she even turns 20. Kelly was born on November 20th, 2009, in a small city called Pavia in northern Italy. Her parents came from Cameroon in Africa, and they had no idea their daughter would one day become one of the fastest teenagers in the world. When Kelly was little, she tried everything. She swam in pools, she played tennis, she kicked soccer balls around, but nothing felt quite right. Then, when she was 10 years old, she tried running, and that's when everything changed. By the time Kelly was 11, she was already faster than kids years older than her. She ran 60 meters in 7.94 seconds. To understand how fast that is, try running the length of a basketball court in less than 8 seconds. It's really, really fast. But Kelly didn't just run straight. She also jumped. She became so good at long jump that she could leap more than 6 meters through the air. That's longer than a small car. Still, running was what she loved most.
La partenza, Kellyanne Dualla fa tutto da solo, né Castellani né Succo, nulla può contro Kellyanne Dualla.
Now here's where her story gets interesting. Kelly's mom really loves a famous runner from Jamaica named Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce. Fraser-Pryce won gold medals at the Olympics not once, but twice. She's one of the greatest sprinters ever. Kelly's mom loved her so much that she gave Kelly the middle name Ann, just like Fraser-Pryce. Kelly told reporters about this, saying her mom is a big fan of Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce, so her middle name is also Ann. She said she has always been following Fraser-Pryce since she was a little kid. When Kelly turned 14 in 2024, she decided it was time to start breaking records. In February, she ran the 60 meters indoors in just 7.27 seconds. This broke an Italian record that had been standing since 2002, before Kelly was even born. Think about that. A record that lasted 22 years, and a 14-year-old girl just smashed it. But Kelly wasn't done. That same year, she kept getting faster. She ran 80 meters in 9.39 seconds. Then she ran 100 meters in 11.7 seconds. Then even faster at 11.52 seconds. Every time she raced, she got better.
The stand is absolutely packed here in Finland, and Dualla is up. Also running well, Pagliarini. Oh, but Dualla, she's in a class of her own.
Then came 2025, and this is when Kelly truly shocked everyone. In January, Kelly went to a big indoor race in a city called Ancona. She lined up for the 60 meters, and when the gun went off, she flew down the track. When she crossed the finish line, the clock showed 7.23 seconds. The crowd went wild. She had just run the fastest 60 meters ever by any European teenager under 18. But she still wasn't satisfied. 3 weeks later, at the Italian Junior Championships, Kelly ran even faster. This time, she clocked 7.19 seconds. This made her not just the fastest teenager, but the second fastest Italian woman of all time, at any age. The only people faster than her were full-grown adult athletes who had been training for years. The president of Italian athletics, a man named Stefano May, knew something special was happening. But he also knew Kelly was very young. He told everyone there would be no pressure on her. He said if Kelly and her coach decided she was ready to compete at the top level, that was fine. But nobody would force her to do anything. They wanted to protect her. Shortly after that amazing race, Kelly got hurt. She pulled a muscle and had to stop training for a while. For a young athlete trying to break records, this could have been terrible news. But Kelly didn't give up. By June, she was back, and she was faster than ever. Kelly ran 100 meters in 11.37 seconds, breaking the Italian record for anyone under 20. Then she did it again, even faster, at 11.36 seconds. On July 15th, in a city called Brescia, she ran 11.29 seconds. Everyone in Italy was talking about her. Coaches were amazed. Other athletes couldn't believe what they were seeing, and Kelly was just getting started. On July 21st, Kelly traveled to North Macedonia for a huge competition called the European Youth Olympic Festival. This is where the best young athletes from all over Europe come to race against each other. Kelly knew this was her chance to do something special.